It's so nice to be in person and to see you all here. And most importantly, like Celeste said, thank you, Celeste. Happy International Women's Day. What an amazing way to celebrate. Of course, we're here with the lovely Maisie Peters. And Maisie, this is exciting. This is my second time seeing you this week because I got to see Maisie's show sold out at Webster Hall last night. We got some people there. What was so amazing about the show, what I told Maisie before we got on stage, is I don't think I've ever seen a crowd so engaged at a concert before.
Aww.
For you, and they're here, and they're engaged tonight, and I like that. What was that experience like for you last night, selling out Webster Hall and playing that show?
It was so fun. It felt like the culmination of a lot of years of work, I guess, and of work and of progress. And I hate the word proud, I'm too English for it, it's way too sincere. But I think there was a level of that just in terms of my band and myself and everyone who worked so hard on it. I feel like it all really came together and it was just so much fun, to be honest. I think we just love playing the album, and I'm so pleased. I think that the album is so well reflected in the show, which is cool. And yeah, it was just so much fun getting to share it with everybody.
And not only was Webster Hall sold out, but your entire North American tour is sold out. And I'm sure as an artist, to see those words sold out on a tour, that has to be an unreal feeling.
It's the best thing. I think it's probably better than drugs. I don't do them, so I don't know, but I think it probably is. No, it's so good. I've done many shows in my time to 3 people, one of them being my mum. So and everybody has, I think. Everyone knows that feeling of going up to sing and being like, there is no one here. So it's just the best thing to know that you're going into a room that's going to be full. It's like a dream.
I mean, and let's take it back a little bit. Before you're selling out tours, you're busking on the streets in London. Paint the picture. What did that season of your life look like?
I think I was 15, 16. I was actually in Brighton, which is where I'm from, and I would go with my little red busking amp and my guitar and probably my dad. And I would just set up, and I would be so embarrassed setting up. The worst part about busking is setting up and packing down because everyone stares at you. So I'd set up, and I'd be really embarrassed, and then I would start singing, and then because I didn't want to pack down because it was so embarrassing to pack down because everyone stares at you again, I would just sing for ages. My poor father would just sit there as I rinsed the same actually saying that, it's not true. I used to sing all kinds of things. Busking was really fun because you could do whatever you wanted, and no one's really looking. So I would just literally just make things up. I think I would fully make things up on the spot, just to keep singing. And yeah, I would do that every weekend for a couple of hours. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I made really good money. One of my favorite anecdotes is I used to busk outside the children's library. And I used to sing Disney covers because then the kids would dance and the parents would feel guilty, so pay me. And I was 15 and I was girl bossing like no other.
Businesswoman already. It must be wild for you to come to a city like New York, or if you're back in London and you see other street performers. Do you have almost a different appreciation for that art form?
Yes, definitely. I think I'm quite superstitious. So when I see a busker, I always try and pay them because I feel like I just superstition. I might get struck down otherwise. But yeah, I mean, New York is the best for that. I feel like there's so many cool things going on all the time.
Yeah. Do you get to stop and talk to them ever?
I probably wouldn't stop and talk to a stranger in New York. I don't think I would. That's fair. I don't think I would go for that approach. But I admire them greatly from afar.
Yeah. Like I mentioned last night, standing in awe watching this packed out show, you see the crowd singing your lyrics back to you. I was in awe watching on stage, you just seem so comfortable. I'm curious for you, what is that first moment, maybe one of your first or earliest concerts, when you were in that crowd watching someone on stage, being inspired by them?
Oh, that's a fun question. I remember I'm from Brighton, and there's a venue in Brighton called the Dome, which is, fun fact for no one who cares, which is all of you. There was the Prince Regent, so fucking annoying of me. The Prince Regent, it was the Dome in Brighton is where he kept his horses. It's this big palace. And so it's a really amazing, beautiful old venue. And I saw a couple of people there that were really formative. I saw First Aid Kit, and I saw James Bay. And it's crazy, I'm now lucky I can count both of them as friends, which is so funny. And both of them, I didn't tell them when I first met them. I was just shy and didn't say anything. And then I sent them a really weird message afterwards being I saw you in the Dome when I was 15 with my mum. And no, but both of those shows, I really remember just being so awestruck by how good it was. I just couldn't, I couldn't believe, and I was making music at that point, but I was I was a baby. I was starting out. I was playing in pubs, and I was doing my thing, and I just could not fathom that something could be that good, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like through your music, we know Maisie as the musician. I'm curious, Maisie as the person. If your friends were to describe you, what would they say is like, that's so Maisie, or this is so Maisie?
Oh my God. Well, I think they're very similar. I had this conversation. I think the musician and the person are the same. God, what's so Maisie? Oh God, I loathe to think. Why can't I think of anything positive or appropriate? I mean, I think it's funny. I would say, I had somebody once say, it's so interesting, Maisie, like 90% of the time, you are, focused, work queen, girl boss 3000, and then 10% of the time, you're literally just floating around doing random shit. And I was like, it's not a lie. I really don't know what I'm doing. And there's like a good portion of my life. I was literally just explaining to Joel, my guitarist, we were talking about how we're going to go sleep we're going back to the tour bus tonight, where you sleep in like little bunks. And we've been in the hotel the past few nights because we've been in New York for a longer time. And I had like a really nice hotel room. And Joel was like, oh, you're not sad to go back on the bunk? And I was like, no, because I couldn't figure out how my blinds worked. So instead of like just asking someone, I've just been sleeping with them open. And so every morning I would wake up and I'd be like, oh, it's so bright. And Joel was like, why didn't you ask? I was like, I don't really know. I just kind of was like, oh, this is just life. This is what's happening. There you go.
So do you consider yourself a morning person, or are you more of a night person, or just on this trip you're a morning person because of the blinds?
Yeah, I was a morning person because of the blinds. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Let's just do an honesty hour right here, right now. Did I go to sleep at 5 a.m.? Maybe. Was I sober when I did it? Maybe.
So we are feeling good right now.
We are feeling good. No, you know what though? I feel like New York is the place for that.
It is.
There's no way none of you are not hungover. Somebody here.
They were at the show.
They were at the show. No, I'm not sure my show is really the places for getting smashed. Maybe they are. I don't know. But I am normally a night owl, I would say. I'm not really a morning person.
Yeah, I mean, as you're traveling on tour, is there something that you have to do at every single city? Do you guys pick up any souvenirs, any stops you have to do? Keep the blinds open?
Yeah, blinds open always. No, we try and get little like cute mementos of everywhere we go, if we remember. I just try and see like at least something. Often it's kind of funny when you're on tour, you don't have that much time, so you end up, your memory of a city will be like that one coffee shop you went to or that one restaurant, which is hilarious. But no, I'm trying to think if we've been anywhere cool. I mean, we went to Pontiac, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I hope no one here is from Pontiac, but there is not a lot to do there. I don't really know what everyone does there, but I did not have such luck. I wandered around. Chicago was fun. We went to some thrift stores.
Ooh, my fave.
Got some sunglasses, perfect for the weather.
You also talked about you were excited about the diner and the refills of coffee.
Yeah, big guys. You guys have no idea how lucky you have it. We have no such thing in England. They would fucking never. The diners are so fun. The free coffee is so fun. But you go overboard. I'm a girl who can't say no, and it's a lot.
Well, let's dive into your album. You signed up for this that you released last year. It's been out for a few months now. We're all enjoying it and loving it. I see all the heads nodding. Tell us a little bit about this project, now having it out into the world, what that's been like for you.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's the first album, and so that's the album you sort of work on your whole life. And I think that first album is always special because of that. It's a culmination of your entire life up until it comes out. And yeah, I sort of worked on it solidly for a year and a half-ish. But also, again, simultaneously my whole life. And it was, I've been you. No, I love the album. I still love the album. It's so cool and fun and great releasing something that you love so much, and then because it never gets boring or old, or it's always just the best time talking about it and playing it, and I think I'm really lucky that I get to feel like that.
Is there a song on there that you're particularly proud of?
Yes, I really love a lot of them. There's a song called Love for My Dome, which is track 5, for those who know. I'm really proud of that song.
I've always heard that track 5 is important on the track list. Do you find that true for you?
Yes. So it's I don't know if you know, but if not, let me enlighten you. So it's a Swiftie thing. It's yeah. It's a Swiftie
All hail
thing.
the queen.
All hail the queen, yeah. Not that, hilarious. So yeah, so it's a Swiftie thing. It's like her track vibes are really important. So it's all, I actually don't know how it began. I think it was a fan decision. Everyone was always like, oh, track 5's always like the one. So then I obviously had to make sure my track 5 was the one too. Yeah.
Now that you open this can of worms, what's your favorite Taylor Swift album?
That's a very difficult question.
I know. We're asking the hard-hitting questions
God,
tonight,
yeah,
okay?
this is journalism at its finest. My favorite Taylor Swift album, I love all of them for different reasons. It's kind of it's an answer of the season, but I'll say Red.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not everyone clapping.
Hilarious. I'm loving where this conversation is going. Well, one thing I feel like you and Taylor Swift have a lot in common is sometimes when you listen to your songs or hear your lyrics, it feels like it's coming straight from your journal entries, right? Where your lyrics feel so personal and poignant. I'm curious, are those all from personal experience, or do you play a little bit with fantasy, like how sometimes we see Taylor do? What does that process look like for you?
No, I definitely do. Some songs are like wholly fictional and some songs are wholly true, but often there'll be an element of both. I think I write a lot, and I never want to feel constrained by the truth. I feel like not at the expense of the song. So, but also all of my songs are normally rooted in things that have happened or I've seen happen or have happened to me. So it really depends on the song and on the season of my life.
Have you ever had a last-minute change of heart? Like, maybe I shouldn't include that lyric in there. Maybe I'll change the name here or there.
Oh, yeah, and sometimes, this is chaotic of me, sometimes, especially when the song's not, it's different when the song's out. If the song's not out and there's a lyric that I'm like, oh, like, I sang a song last night, it was an unreleased song, and it's called Pretty Girls Like Star Signs, and there was a lyric in there where I was like, I feel like I'll get in trouble if I sing this lyric in the city, so I just changed it.
On the fly?
Just before the show, I was like, I'm just gonna sing something different. No one will know. So you just do a little bit of light edit, you know?
Yeah.
No one need know.
It's funny you brought that up because I have to say that was one of my favorites you played last night.
Thank you.
Because you have that lyric of he can change. How is it? He can change, but he might not change for.
He could change if he wanted to, and he will one day. I'm sure of it. He just doesn't want to change enough for you. Ooh. Ha ha ha. Ha ha.
So I've got to ask for the fans who love that song. Will you ever release that song?
I don't know. I like to sing that song because it's a song that I wanted to. At one point, I wanted it on the album, and it just didn't make it. So it feels nice to sort of put it in the You Sign Up for This show and have it be part of that era still. I have a couple of people who have reached out and asked about, they want to help me finish it or produce it, and there's some really cool people. But a little part of me, I don't know. I like to move forward, and I'm not sure if that's necessarily something I would do, but I'm never say never.
Yeah. You also described the album too, going back to the whole theme of it, as a love letter to girlhood, and I think that's so appropriate because it's International Women's Day, like we keep saying. I'm curious if you can elaborate on these themes and how they played out in this album and in this music.
For sure. I think there's the album. I started writing it. The earliest song on there is John Hughes Movie, and I wrote that when I was 17, and then Psycho is the one I wrote the latest, and that must have been when I was 20. Yes. Yes. So it really is an album that contains, like a coming of age, quotation mark, and all of the things that happen to you between 17 and 20.
Yeah. I'm curious for you, like on the road now, are you still creating? Are you still writing? Are you inspired? How does that work as an artist?
Interesting. It's funny because it's not something I've really thought about. You can't think about it until you're doing it, so you don't know. I am inspired, but also it's very intense, at least for me right now, and we're filming a lot. We're making this like documentary series, so we're doing a lot of filming and a lot of shooting, and there's not a lot of time I find to sit and think, and I actually should write down more of what's happening because I worry that I'll forget, but also there's something nice about you'll only remember the things that feel the most poignant, so maybe that's good. But I haven't written anything yet. I've thought about things. I've got some lyrics written down on my notes app.
Ooh, okay, so we have some stuff coming. You're on your tour right now, obviously, but let's talk about Ed Sheeran for a minute because you're signed to his label, you co-wrote the album with him, and you're going on tour with him this summer.
Indeed.
Which is insane. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Let's dissect all of that for a second. How did that come to be?
As in our knowing each other?
Yeah, let's start at that.
So, I mean, it kind of sounds cliche. I promise I'm going to say this, and you guys are going to think everyone in England knows each other. We don't. But there was an element of just, we had mutual friends. I work a lot with a guy called Joe Rubel, and Fred Gibson and Amy Wadge, and so did Ed, worked with all of those people. And we were signed to Atlantic, mutual friends from way back, as in our managements were friendly. So it just kind of, I think we circled each other like fun little sharks. And then,
Fun little shark.
and then we met. Oh, he invited me to come write with him in Suffolk, where he lives. So I went, and I was very nervous, but it was very fun. And we wrote Hollow and Boy. That was the first time we met, and we wrote those 2 songs. And
Was
then
this like a James Bay situation where you messaged him later, or did you tell him?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I've ever. Well, like, I think that, you don't want to make a man's ego too big. So I try, although I say that, Ed Sheeran has the smallest ego of many men I know. It could be way more inflated than it is. He's like the sweetest, nicest, kindest, most generous, most wonderful person. But yeah, no, I've probably said like a couple of nice things. I wrote a couple of like key people in my life, like letters for over Christmas, and I gave them everyone got like a very specific present. And there's like a batch of them. I'm not going to say it because I feel like it's cool that it's unknown. But I did 5 of them. And Ed got one, my manager got one, Joe got one, producer who I made a lot of my album with. And I put a lot of like really like sweet, genuine, sincere things in the letter. And then I finished it with like, do not talk to me about this or I will deck you.
That's never happened.
This never happened. And that is how the relationship really goes.
Interesting. So are you not really a sentimental person in general?
No.
Which is so interesting because I feel like your lyrics are so...
I have a real issue with sincerity. It's really bad. I can barely look you in the eye right now. Like, real issue with it. I know, I think I just use it a lot for my songs. And then
you save it.
Someone's like, I'm so proud. I'm like, but yes.
Is it wild for you then when fans come up and are like, this song meant so much to me, or when you have these fan interactions? Is it easier for you to accept that love, or is it tough?
I think I'm just like, yeah, I'll stop it. And then sometimes people will be crying. I'm like, don't cry, don't be silly. Just me. But everyone's, to be fair, I'm lucky. All my fans are just like funny, good vibes. So everyone's just like, oh, I love that song. I'm like, thanks, babe. They're like, you're welcome. And it's just good times.
Now, before you're obviously going on tour with Ed, but before that, in 2020, you were going to go on tour with Niall, which was this huge moment, I'm sure, for you, but it obviously got canceled to the pandemic. Yes. What was that whole time, that experience like for you?
Wow. I mean, it wasn't ideal. It wasn't, chef's kiss. But hey-ho, you know what? I thought I was going on a stadium tour, and instead I did move back to my parents' house. And I think that there's much to be learned. No, I was very lucky, and it was a time. It was 2 years, and I was very lucky overall. But there was some comedy gold moments of being like, oh my god, like I was literally eating pasta pesto in my room, being like, what? I was a pop star. What happened? What happened? But no, I mean, yeah, my whole family was there. My sister was there. It would have been amazing. I am actually, we talk about it sometimes, I am really like sad that we missed that. Yeah. Because I think it would have been amazing. And I love Niall. I actually really loved that album. But things happen for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, going on tour with Ed, how do you prepare for that?
I think I just don't. I think I just don't I'm a real like, just don't think about it until you absolutely have to kind of person. Yeah. It's done me well. So I think for that tour, I'll just do my little rehearsals and just be like, la la la. But then you get there, it's always fine. What are you gonna do? It's fine. Like, it's Wembley, it's fine. You just like run around. I honestly think these things you can stress about them, but there's no point. You just have to work hard and be prepared, and I am trying to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be long, I feel like, with all your fans here. They know this. When you're going to be the one going on these huge tours and you're going to get to bring people on there with you, which is going to be exciting to have that kind of mentorship. Yeah. What's something that you hope to impart, again, on these new artists that are coming, a piece of advice that have really helped you?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, something that I think Ed has helped me with that I would like to help others with as like a sort of pass down is the idea that I think when you do something like this, or I guess if you do any job where a lot of what you do is your identity, just sort of because of whatever it is, you'll have like really high highs in that because you love it so much, but you'll also have lows because you care so much, and sometimes things don't go the way you want them to, and sometimes you don't get what you thought you were going to, and there's a million things. But I think it's really important to not base your identity in either of those phases. Like when it's good, when it's great, and when it's not great, I think it's important to not rest your self-worth on either of them, and sort of like appreciate the good and appreciate the not so good, but just like focus on what's in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, and for you in your journey, was there ever a time where you were maybe going to give up on the dream, or maybe you were like, this isn't for me? Thinking back to that, did you ever have a struggle with that, going back and forth?
No, I've never thought that I was gonna not do it anymore. I can't really do anything else, so that would be quite a large issue with that one. I would just then, right now, I'm sort of a pop star, but if I wasn't that, I would just be unemployed. So. No, I've never thought about doing anything else, really, and I don't think I would. I think I'll always do something in music, because I do love it a lot.
And those times when you were busking, back when you're younger, you want to be this artist. Was there a light bulb moment that you had that you were like, not only do I want to do this, but I actually feel at this point I can do this? Did you have that turning point?
I don't know if you ever have like a eureka moment, but maybe it's incremental. You start to. You like put on your first show and people come and you go, oh my God, like I can't believe this. And you just do that over and over again, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, until you realize that you can do it. But I guess there's lots of different levels to it. I think one of my like, when people say like, what are you the proudest of? And it sounds good, it's a really boring answer. But I think that I've been like able to like support myself, and since I was 18, like I've been away, and I've just supported myself, and that's something I'm really proud of, and that I could be like, bye parents, and then I think they like that too, quite frankly. But that's like that's a moment where you're like, like I've definitely made. If I made it, I've made something.
Yeah, I mean, what do your parents think now? They see you sell out the whole North American tour, Webster Hall. I mean, and to watch you busking, and then to this. What do they think of it all?
I think it's cool. We're not really a family of like big sentences, so like, no, they think they're happy. They're just happy and happy. I think they wouldn't care what I was doing.
Yeah. And then what's the next stop on the tour?
Cambridge.
Like going somewhere.
Could somebody confirm that, please? Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Man at the back. Yeah, Cambridge.
And then how much longer are you on tour for? What does the rest of the schedule look like for you?
We're on tour. Our last show is in LA, and it's on the 1st of April. Please, I know. Please don't. I know something bad is. I know it's April Fool's. I know, and I'm a gullible person, so I just think I'm on my guard all day. But yeah, April Fool's is the last show, and then I think I'll hang out in LA for a little bit to work, and then check back.
And then when do you leave for a tour with Ed?
What an interesting question. I think
I'm really going hard into the schedule right now.
I know. But you just want to see the diary? Like I could just open the Google Docs. I think like a few weeks later, I get back to London. Okay. I'll sort of go back into recording and writing, and because I was sort of in that very much before I left, and then off with Edward.
Yeah, I asked that to say because again, to go from such an amazing time to then hop on another tour, that time in between, that downtime, what does that look like for you? Do you get to really rest and reset, or are you writing and you're jumping right back in?
Yeah, I think I'm jumping right back in. There's only so much time. I'm not really a restful person. I famously say I have never been relaxed once in my whole life. I simply do not know her. But I want to get back to sort of finishing the music that I'm making and keeping on going with that. So I'll probably do that.
We're excited for that. We're going to take fan questions here in a second, so everyone get prepared, get your questions ready. Before we do that, you're also going to perform 2 songs for us.
Yes.
So let's talk about those for a second, just to give a little briefing. John Hughes movie and Psycho. Tell us a little bit about these two and why you're performing them tonight.
So John Hughes Movie was the first song that came out from the album, and Psycho was I guess, a really like formative single of the album as well. And yeah, John Hughes Movie I wrote when I was 17, and it's very naive and romantic and hopeful and youthful. And then Psycho is what happens when you're 20 and you realize actually life is a bit shit sometimes. So that's a nice juxtaposition, which I've only just come to realize. That's funny from me. But they're both like I love performing them live as they were recorded is so fun because they're both these really big pop songs and we just have a great time. If anyone came to Webster Hall last night, you'll see I did an outfit change.
I was about to bring that up.
Pop star shit, quite frankly. No, it was very stressful though. We were all just like running around backstage. And because I was a last minute thing. When I was packing for tour, the cheerleading costume actually just fell out of my wardrobe, and I looked at it and I was like, you're coming with me.
This is it.
You're coming with me. And then Psycho I wrote with Ed Sheeran and with Steve Mack, and that was an amazing and really cool and interesting experience. We wrote it so quickly, and then and it was a song that I was kind of afraid of for a while. I didn't want to put it out initially, but it was so fun seeing how much it connected, I think, with the fans and with people who listen to my music. I really thought everyone wouldn't like it, and I feel like that was really not the case. Everyone was very much into it.
Yeah. I think I can also speak for all of us too. I love the Maisie Peters merch in front
Huge.
row.
Someone's got a Maisie Peters as my girlfriend.
Oh my God,
Iconic.
yes. I think we also need the Maisie Peters cheerleading uniforms. I need that to be in the merch.
So true.
Next time.
So true. I will look into that.
Thank you, Maisie, for me. Okay, let's take some fan questions. Since it's such a small and intimate space, if anyone has a question, if you want to just raise your hand, we can call on you. If you just want to stand up, okay, we'll take a few. I saw you first. Taylor's version. Yes.
Taylor's version. If you could be on a vault track for one of the next albums coming out, which would you want to be on?
Oh my God, do you want my job? That was good.
Yeah. That took me a minute. I had to be like, okay, where are we? What a difficult question. I guess I would like to be. What do we have left? Really difficult. I mean, I think that I would like to be on all of them. I think maybe I would be best suited, I think, potentially to like a Speak Now moment.
Ooh, I could see that.
But I would do any of them. Debut, would be just flawless. I would be all over a debut because I know Miss Swift has got some savagery when locked up in that cupboard. For those who know, the girls who get it. But let's do a whole I'd Lie. Imagine that. Simply imagine that.
Yes.
This is the most niche room in the whole world.
It's a good place. That was an excellent question. Okay, yep, we see another hand back there.
Hi, nice to see you.
Hi.
So when you first are writing songs, how do you get it from that little seed? Maybe it's a lyric or a concept or a melody. How do you turn it from that into a full song? What's your process?
Ooh, y'all came prepared.
God, everyone's got it. I think that recently I've definitely been sort of coming into writing the song with a concept or a lyric or a title in mind. So you get straight to the heart of it. If you come with that, it just means you're sort of shortcutting to the point of what you're trying to say, which is hard. I often say, I find songwriting is kind of like songs are kind of like jokes in that you need like a punchline. This type of songs that I write, you need like a punchline, and I want it to be super concise and like cutting, and it's like there. Well, that's the point. But sometimes when you're writing a song, you don't know the point yet because you haven't figured it out what the point is of how you feel or what you're trying to say, which is very difficult because then you're trying to make this like concise punchline for a thing you don't know yet. And that's when I think you just stumble across it. And I've definitely had that with a lot of my songs where I didn't go in knowing what I was going to come out with at all. And then you just have to have a magical moment where you're like, oh, I'll just say this, and it works out. But yeah, I would say
It's interesting.
my current piece of advice would be to come in knowing what you want to say, if it's a lyric or a sentence or a theme, and then go from there, expand upon what you meant when you said that.
That's interesting, Maisie. Do you ever revisit a song that maybe you like had initially started that has taken on a whole new meaning now? Maybe you're in a different stage of your life or you've had a different experience?
Interesting. What, the song that would be out?
Or just like you said, if you like have the seed of an idea or you have you don't necessarily have the punchline, do you ever come back and then realize, oh wait, I have this whole other angle and I can actually write this punchline instead?
I don't think so. I think I would just write a different song. I'm not sure I'm really one for revisiting. I'm trying to think. It's a good question. I don't know. I don't think so, but I wouldn't say never.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, yes, we'll do back to back. We'll do you first, and then we'll go pop over.
I'm wondering, what are your like musical inspirations that aren't music? Like, what are you being inspired by? Whether it's film, books, theater. Like, what are the things that you're pulling from?
What a great question. Okay, it's surprising to no one, but I'm deeply obsessed with Succession. And what an actually great place to say that. But I am, and I just think it's the best thing ever made. But I'm so obsessed. I think just like the dialogue and the wit and the humor and the pace of it is just so amazing. And it's the way they say so little. They say so much with so little, and like there's like the comedic timing is impeccable. It's so flawless and it's so quick, and you might miss it if you're not paying attention. And it's also really, Jeremy something? I can't remember his surname. He does that infamous interview where he says that he doesn't understand why people think it's funny. He's like, it's very serious, and I'm like, that's like exactly. Like I think that's how I see my music as well. Like my music is kind of very serious, but it's also very funny, and I think that's the best thing when you have something that's both, and it's so funny, but it's also like really sad and tragic and serious, and I think that's like the perfect thing.
I remember talking to Julia Louis-Dreyfus one time, and she said about the show, or the show that she was on forever, Veep.
Yes.
She said, we take our comedy very seriously.
Yes.
And I was like, I actually love that line.
So good.
I feel like it's very similar.
I love that. Yeah, exactly. I take my comedy very seriously.
Yeah.
If you could make any song in the album into a duet, what would it be and who would you sing it with?
These are such good questions, guys. Not back.
These are good.
Oh my god.
She goes, yep.
Fuck it out.
Got it.
Queen shit. Just like, yeah.
I love that energy.
Oh my god. I feel like I've had 2 hours sleep, bestie. I don't know if I'm equipped to deal with this.
The diner coffee didn't even come through.
What would I do? What an excellent question. Okay, I'm gonna say purely for extreme hilarity and jokes, I'm deeply obsessed with Jack Harlow. I just think he's, for many different reasons, he's obviously like the smoothest man in the world. And me and my friends just send photos back and forth, and we're like, sexy. And that's what we say.
I feel like everyone has a collective crush on him.
Yeah, it's like hard to sort of put your finger on why, but it just, but also genuinely do think he's so talented, and his new song is amazing. So I'm gonna say like, I would love Jack Harlow to have a verse on Boy. I think that would be iconic.
Okay, Jack, if you're watching.
Jack.
We
I know you're in here, Jack. I know you're in here.
Come on out, Jack.
Yeah. So good.
That's great. Okay, I think it's Celeste. I think we have time maybe for one more question. Two more questions. Okay, I see. Yeah, did you have your hand up?
What's your favorite John Hughes movie?
Oh.
Again, great question. I like Ferris Bueller. I like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's my favorite.
Great. Okay, I think I saw her hand first, and we'll come back.
Is there a song on the album that you're surprised at how fans have embraced it, or you weren't expecting the reaction that you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. We were talking about this last night, because Villain always goes off so hard at shows. And I was like, I'm actually not surprised at all, because it's just very feral as a song. So it actually makes complete sense why it goes off, because everyone's like, black dial, baby.
So good.
So yeah, no, I'm not surprised, but it is really cool seeing how that connected.
Yeah. I think maybe let's do 2 more quick questions that we have time. Yeah.
Such a huge fan.
You.
Yesterday was fantastic.
In the Maisie t-shirt, as you see.
I bought it yesterday.
Girl
Front
boss.
row.
Girl boss.
2-part question. The first one is songwriting. Like, is it like a catharsis kind of for your like mental health? Like, does that play into it when you're like talking and reliving these experiences?
I don't know if I would use the word catharsis. I've never found that applicable. I do think it's funny because like a joke that's not a joke I have is that I'm Maisie Peters, the girl who gets over nothing. But I think it's hard to get over things in quotation marks when you're constantly talking about them and reliving them and writing about them. And like, listen, I'm 21. A girl who's only got so much that's happened to her, so she really has to reuse, reduce, recycle. And so I do definitely think like pity on you, like sad, honestly sad for you if you've like done something even slightly bad, because I will be thinking about it for the rest of my life. Purely on like a kind of, a sort of economical level. There's only so much to go around. So catharsis, no. I've never really felt like that. I don't feel like cleansed once I've done it. I'm just like, oh, there it is again. But there is something, it's cool. It's something cool about documenting. It's like a constant real-time document of your life.
Yeah, saving the earth one song at a time. Okay, let's do one more. One more.
So I was at the show last night. It was absolutely amazing, and I feel like it's just such a range of like you're dancing, you're having the best time, and then the slower moments I was like crying. But I was just wondering, like, do you have a favorite song to play live, or does it depend on like the crowd or where you are?
It definitely depends on the crowd and where you are for sure, but I always love You Signed Up for This, and I always love Brooklyn.
Oh, and being in New York, that's a special one.
Yeah, that was really perfect. I've been thinking about that for so long, and it was so cool to actually do it.
Yes. Okay, let's do one last quick one. I saw you, and then we're done.
This might be a bad question compared to everybody else's, but what's like your favorite place to go to in New York?
Okay, that's a great question. Where's my favorite place to go to in New York? I'm trying to think of actually specific places. Oh, it's so cliche though. Oh God. You know what? I'm just gonna say it because you guys should be appreciative of the things that you have that you don't realize. But Central Park is really sick. No. It's really big. It is. It's like a forest. Like I just think you guys should really like appreciate it more. Like you can. I went once and it was snowing and I was like, what the fuck is this? It's like Santa's grotto. What are we doing? So I'm gonna say Central Park. And I'm sorry if that's boring.
No, I love it. New York, baby. On that note, thank you all so much for your questions. Just want to say thank you so much for all of you here for coming. Thank you to 9 to Wyken for this amazing event, to Celeste.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate all being here. Again, Maisie Peters, everyone. Good night, guys. Happy International Women's Day!
New York, New York.